Warning. The following episode contains extreme spoilers about the 2019 film, Us. And speaking of us, grown, we are proud to be a part of the It's All Been Done Presents Network, an entertainment company based in Columbus, Ohio, of more than a dozen podcasts, videos, and written work series. We have tons of great programming, and we appreciate our donors helping to support us. So that's why they get cool stuff like exclusive sneak peeks, outtakes, raw audio from our flagship It's All Been Done Radio Hour, a year before it hits the podcast feed, and even t-shirts and paperbacks. Now, through April, we've got a physical reward for $1 donors too. Become a supporter at patreon.com/IABD and get a page of Radio Hour script with doodles from the real live cast members. Go give a little now and we'll send you yours. Again, that's patreon.com/IABD. And thank you very much. Wait, what is that? Hey, cut your music for a second. Where is that coming from? Oh, wow! It's like looking into a mirror. Awfully quiet there, aren't you? Okay, gotta go. Welcome to Marianne's Macabre Review.
Welcome to Marianne's Macabre Review. We have a brand new guest with us today.
Woo-woo.
First time. We have PBS, not Public Broadcasting Station.
It's Pabst.
Or Peebs. Peebs works.
We've got Peebs here today. And we also have returning co-host J. Keith Jackson. Whoop whoop. Voice actor.
That was not me.
Yeah, that was me pretending to be Keith. Hello, my name is Keith. So we saw Us, the movie Us, Jordan Peele's Us.
No, we just saw Us.
Yeah. We looked. We got in a room and we looked at each other and
I don't want to see us right
This
now.
is us.
If I see me, I'm out.
So let's do what we do with Marianne's Macabre Review is we usually do general, what we like, what we didn't like, just real quick, like general thoughts.
You know I've been stalking your show, right?
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, we're good. Yay!
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yay! So let's start out, let's start with synopsis. Would you like to do our synopsis?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to pass that mic right
Keith,
now.
would you like to do that?
Sure. Well, it was it's always hard for me to do these succinctly, but I think the important thing to hit on or start with is they started us in 1986 with the backdrop of Hands Across America about to break through, and so they're at a carnival with father, mother, and little girl, and the parents are clearly having some sort of marital issues. Usually, seemingly about the way to raise her. So anyway. She wanders off while the father's distracted, enters a hall of mirrors, and sees a reflection that isn't really a reflection, kind of turns around, or she sees it back to back. They just, eyes wide, we don't really know what really happens. So then she seems to be traumatized for a bit, and they flash forward to the little girl's new life with her own family now, grown up, has a husband, son, and daughter. And they're returning back to Santa Cruz Beach, which is where this happened before, and clearly this was bothering her for some reason. They're still not making it clear. So they get to they're back in the guest house that they've been staying in.
But do shenanigans happen when they're at a guest house? Actually, it's the grandmother's house.
Oh.
Yeah, because grandmother's passed away?
Yep,
Yes.
she passed away the previous year, it seemed like.
I guess I'm sorry, I should say like a vacation home, which they were using it for, but it belonged to her mother, I guess. So, there are mysterious people in the driveway suddenly at night.
It's the same as their stick figures on the back of their car.
I hadn't caught that. That's really great.
That's how they were all
actually.
holding hands again.
And they seem to be murderous for some reason.
And feral.
Yes, that too. And, it escalates from there, and we find out eventually that it's not just them, which I thought was an interesting revelation.
Super cool.
Yeah. It was everyone in the country, it seems like, and I'll get to that a little later too, because I thought that was another fun little twist. So, that's probably good enough for now before we get into the...
All right, so, Peebs, what did you think of the movie?
I saw 3/4 of the movie. I saw 3/4 of a really phenomenal part slasher, part suspense. I don't know what happened the last quarter.
Why? What?
Got
a
little...
No, I get it.
Yeah, no, it got a little...
We didn't like the...
As we kind of descended, and then it felt like we came into an abandoned mall that was really taken care of, but then it was... it has to do with, like, the seating they had kind of throughout the hallway there. Mm-hmm. And the very end, the 5-second twist just felt forced.
Yeah,
This is where I'm going to disagree with you, and I'll explain in a bit.
That's what I feel like, too. Yeah.
This is a bit of a spoiler, so Keith, when you record this, there's going to be a spoiler warning.
All sorts of spoilers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for this movie in particular, yes.
Yes.
So I think that'll be covered.
The big thing is she traded with herself back when she was a little kid, and I don't. That just blew the whole movie for me.
That was one of several things that occurred to me.
And
at the beginning, but I don't know if it seems a little soon to get into this, but I have a reason why I think that made everything else that was like the last loose end I think that they needed to tie up. It was the explanation of why she was her copy was the only one who could talk. It's because she was actually raised on the surface and came down there and was influencing the rest of the other tethers, or the tethered people as they were calling themselves, or as she was calling it. And when the one who was below, who came up and took her place, couldn't talk because she didn't know how. And so her parents were putting forth effort to teach her how to do that, and that reinforced the connection between the ones who had swapped. So, anyway, that was one of the things there were several things like that were building as I was going along. I'm going, okay, I need an explanation for this. And I thought they did a good job of making that make sense at some point. They left it just vague enough because somebody was doing this and gave up generations ago, creating all the clones of people, probably storing them and just kind of like, whatever. It's not quite working.
That's the thing is, how did the one, when she's telling the story, the M'Baku character comes. I don't remember their names, so.
I think their last names are Wilson in this.
But the dad character comes to her. She actually has 2 kids that are exactly the same. Mm-hmm. It seems, how does that happen with clones? If it's a clone.
Clone is an oversimplification. They never actually used the word clone. Well,
they're like copies.
Yeah,
they share one soul, which is the reason why the ones below kept mimicking everything they did. Mm-hmm. So Dad's name is Gabe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm also awful with names. That's why I got IMDb up.
Right.
There were nods to it through the movie. For instance, when Mom, which is Adelaide, kind of goes psycho in a few spots where she kind of lets go and gets murderous herself. Mm-hmm. She starts talking like them. But see, I thought it was going to show that they were reversing.
Yeah.
And that there was like a so kind of reversal to it. I didn't see that she might have been kidnapped. It also explains why she talks in a really raspy voice, because she got choked out.
And she didn't. And she didn't.
Very good.
Use her voice. She didn't have She had no one to talk to for 20, 30 years.
Right.
Yeah. You know, who knows how old she is when she had kids, and
She might not have even bothered. Well, they were. She was communicating with her the tethered family. She was communicating with them like animals. You know, grunts, hand signals. God, what else? So yeah, I mean, she might have even remembered how to talk, but just never needed to do it until she was up there to talk to herself from, you know.
So I'm not mad at how it ended. It's just 5 seconds. It didn't feel like it really, I don't know, kind of gave enough to it. And I don't know. There's some things I would have liked to have seen peppered in there more, but the way they had the set up for like the last quarter of it, just I wasn't.
the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. It was, they're like, because we got that little tagline at the beginning where
Right.
they were
The
saying,
tunnels.
no one even knows why they were
Right.
built. I was
Okay,
like,
the tagline being the one about all the tunnels, or thousands of miles of tunnels under the United States, and some of them were for these purposes, and some of them, well, they're there for
knows?
like, we don't remember the reason why
It's
they're
like-
even there.
subways, mine shafts, and some are built because no one knows why. And it was probably to house these bodies, these soulless folks. And yeah. So, okay. Did you finish your
I did.
thoughts? Okay. What did you think, Keith?
I didn't really have any complaints, and I can understand why it would bother both of you and probably other people. But as I said, I thought it created a logical enough narrative that certain other things wouldn't have made sense without it. But just I'm spinning over all these details I had stored up. There were just a lot of interesting little things that they were doing for whatever reason. You know, some just symbolism, for art's sake, whatever. You know, they had the shell motif throughout the house. Like one of the lamps was filled with shells. The porta potties were called porta shells. You know,
What does the shell have
on the
to
beach?
do?
I don't know. I thought it just had something to do with maybe what the copiers are moving from.
The 1111.
Yeah, that too.
Speaking of 11:11, hey, guess what I looked up?
What? Oh yeah. What is Jeremiah 11:11?
So
Besides a bullfrog.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. So Jeremiah 11:11. Therefore thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape, and though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them.
So it's Rorschach.
It's kind of like Rorschach, but it's also saying these are without souls, and I will not listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though you are human, you are not worthy of God's
Interesting.
love.
So that seemed to be the driving motivation for all the people that were living under, was that they were just reflections of the people above without the same rights, even though they were human. They weren't counted as being sold, although I believe that the point that she was Red, actually is the credited name for her, was trying to make was that they could have been as equal, given the chance, and probably even superior.
Yes. Well, I don't know about superior.
Well, I think that's what the point of the Hands Across America thing was. That's Gabe, the father, made the husband, made the observation that it took an incredible amount of coordination to do what they were doing.
So
with the demonstration of linking hands and just
going all the way across.
Yeah.
In addition to it, Jeremiah 11:11 being seen as on a sign twice, the numbers 11. This I'm reading from IMDb. When Gabe is watching the baseball game, the announcers say that it's tied 11:11.
Missed it.
Oh, I missed
The
that.
clock, the carnival worker, one of the shirts, and in present day have black flag,
Yes.
and their logos are 4 vertical bars, which is also
Wow.
1,
Totally
1, 1,
caught
1,
that
1.
one, though.
I kept looking at it and I was like, Keith probably knows something about that band. It probably has some Revelance.
Relevance? Surely you mean relevance. Shit!
But it is just the slashes. And again, when the ambulance is down at the windy back row, the camera pans out to show the ambulance number on top is 1111.
Dang it, I missed that. I was going to be so mad because I was even thinking they set this up. Why aren't there more callbacks to it? And there totally were Easter eggs and I missed them.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
The Ophelia assistant. Ophelia means help. Is the Greek origin.
Oh.
So, and she was totally unhelpful.
No.
Yes.
Call the police.
That was the best point to come back into the theater.
I think you left at a pretty bad time.
I didn't think so. I mean,
Well,
you just saw.
can I-
Oh, go ahead, Keith.
You missed the whole scene with the other family and that slow revelation that there were copies of them coming in. So you just kind of caught the tail end of them being killed.
Murdered.
Yeah. So you had not seen this before.
I've not seen this
Okay.
before.
Yeah.
I will go back and check that out.
I mean, I love the way that unfolded because we were up until that point in the movie, we're just, or at least I was wondering, why her? Why just that one family? And you think that maybe they're going to be attacked by the copies of,
the Wilsons?
yes, the Wilsons. Then suddenly it's, hey, we're all here. Just, scissors immediately, just all dead. It was just an amazing kind of shock moment, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have uglied up Elizabeth Moss more, though. She was the wife from their group. What was it?
Heideckers.
Yeah. The Tylers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish they would have uglied her up more. Because even like when she's putting on her... Kitty.
Yes.
Yeah, when she starts putting on a lip gloss, I was like, they could have done more with
Something.
her. But I like that when she started cutting herself with the shears, was that about the plastic surgery she said she had done?
She already had the cuts.
my God.
She had the scars in her cheeks already from when the one, the actual one with the soul had gotten it. So
I didn't think about that.
whatever happens to them must happen to the people down below.
Yeah.
Like if they get a cut, they get cut, and if they get pregnant, they get pregnant.
That didn't occur to me. One of the things I had been wondering about, though, eventually, well, I'm getting ahead of myself for a second. Sometimes it wasn't clear, especially when they went all the way to the end and showed the people in the carnival scene who were mirroring some of the actions to some extent of the people above them.
Yes.
It was, and Red, one of the things that she was explaining earlier was that the people that created them wanted to find a way to control the people above like puppets. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to say which was influencing the other in some cases. And there was a great scene. Well, we're seeing something both with the mother and the son, Red and
The little boy with the mask.
right.
Jason?
But I'm trying to think of the sold version or whatever, her copy, Red and
Adelaide.
yeah, Adelaide. We saw when they were fighting eventually that there was some connection that Adelaide, or Red in this case, was able to use to her advantage. She could kind of predict
the movements.
predict the movements and feel it. And the thing with the boys, during the trap scene where they had the fire laid out, it seemed like he understood that there was a way to tap into that tether and control the other by raising his arms a certain way, like a puppeteer and
And walking backwards. Okay, so she was able to tap into the thing, but she wasn't the tether. The one above was the tether.
right.
So she's just a human then. She doesn't have anything to. How did she get connected? How would a human be able to tap into the tethers?
Oh my gosh, because Red is actually the human.
Yeah.
So she figured out she could kind of control her tether.
Mm-hmm.
So was it that she was predicting how she was moving, or was she kind of moving her?
Yeah.
Hard to
And
say.
both of them had kind of, and the tether kind of had a callback at that point, which would be Adelaide. Wait, no. I'm getting all confused myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, thinking about the dance while it was going on, I wonder if that was also saying that while the dance was going on, who was the one that was really dancing.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, and then that's when she said, that's when I realized I was special. Oh, duh, because, no, you're the actual human. Okay, I'm starting to like this more the more we're talking about it.
And the other thing, but the showing the flashback scene at the end, where we see that she'd been chained down below, and trapped. So when Red went back up to the surface, it was a revenge move specifically for her to tether her to the table like that. It was.
I liked that a lot because I was also kind of like, what's with the handcuffs, and that made that part make more sense too. Never going to Santa Cruz because they're going to be flipping vampires there, a la Lost Boys, or they're going to have a reflection. Thanks for that. Just also, shout out to Critters. Critters always screwed me up because one of there's a scene in, and I don't remember if it's 1 or 2. But a grandmother is walking away with her grandson. The grandson's got, grandma's got, been hit in the head. Grandson is shaken. And all he said is, I just wanted to go to the fair or the boardwalk or whatever. And that screwed me up when I was younger. So for this to start in and go back to during the day, which thank you for having a horror / thriller that also takes part during the day, because to me that's way scary because you can see everything and things are still coming after you. But for them to go back to it, and I'm looking at all these dead people going, but they just wanted to go to the fair.
So I liked it. However, I did not like the fact that they had switched. I thought it would be far more creepier to just have it be everybody. I mean, just everybody's got a copy and better watch out. You better kill your copy or else. I mean, we didn't need the extra twist, I don't think.
As I said before, I maintained that it was a logical catalyst for things to happen. It was the one thing that set everything into motion.
How old do we think she was when she switched?
It looked like
6?
What did they say? I feel like they said the number and I don't remember what it was. I think older than 6, right? I mean...
Okay.
I thought 10.
Okay.
8 or 10.
So let's say it's like Nate a year ago, Keith and I's nephew. Do you think he would have just hung out, been handcuffed, and then just wouldn't have tried to talk his way, talk to people? I mean, wouldn't you think someone at 10 would have tried to escape?
I think, well, first of all, it was a different time. Kids were probably a little less mature and able to take care of themselves than they would be today, or able to reason their way out of things like that. Also, it seemed like she was somewhat incapacitated when she was brought down there, so it was like...
Guess I'm going to say, I guess I don't need my parents anymore.
No,
How would she feed herself? How would she...
Well, there was the rabbit thing. It was like she kind of...
But at 10... I don't think I'd be like, I'll just have raw rabbit for the rest of my fucking life.
I'm saying, all right, it's like she was kidnapped. If you kidnap a kid, and there's the Stockholm thing, she didn't know her way out of there. She probably even saw a copy of her parents down there, didn't know what was going on, and it was this is the way things are now. It's like being kidnapped and put in a boarding school or an assassin school or something.
Okay.
We saw the regimented sort of, where were the rabbits coming from? How did they know to...
Exactly.
So somebody was passing along this knowledge and probably fold her in here you go, this is what you're supposed to do.
They get extra points for not showing any rabbits being killed.
You could hear it. You could kind of see them.
Yeah.
But we didn't see any of them get killed.
No. And that to me was actually way scarier because that made sounds like kids crying and screaming, and that was kind of...
Yeah. I think they were being eaten alive during the table scene when they were...
Okay, well, they just showed one that was alive, and I was fine with that. Because it was like, hey, guys...
Yeah.
I'm a rabbit.
Totally fine with that.
The end scene was great because... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just going to have to hold on this thought, rabbit. Go ahead.
Because all the bunnies just... Occasionally it's like, super serious scene, rabbit hops in. Like, look at the bunny! Just Da-da-da-da-da-da. What's happening in here? Oh, all right. I'm gonna go back out. Bye. Okay, go ahead, Keith.
Connection to Get Out.
Yes.
The rabbit motif. You know, the run, rabbit, run. The song they were playing, and of course that is what the brother, who was abducting people, would play and refer to his prey as.
And
Which also kind of connects to.
They were eating the Fruit Loops. Go ahead, Keith. Never mind.
Which also connects to House of a Thousand Corpses, in some ways, since that was one of the things they would say when they were chasing down the people, running like scared rabbits.
Gosh, I forgot about that. That's awesome.
Also, the mask that the kid was wearing was reminiscent of the M'Baku mask from Black Panther, which both Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke were in. Gorilla mask.
I thought it looked familiar.
Oh, the
okay.
not the copy kid?
Right, the gorilla mask. It wasn't quite the same, but it made me think of it. I wonder if that was intentional.
The copy kid had a mask on that from House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh.
Remember the tall guy?
I think I need to see a picture, but I know who you're talking about. I think
the tallest brother.
Yeah, the one who didn't really talk.
The giant.
Yeah. The real lady killer. But you know what I'm talking about with the...
Yeah. The mask that looks like a gorilla.
Yes.
You know, M'Baku, the gorilla king, the gorilla tribe king. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, Keith.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so when they are in the classroom with where the bunny rabbit cage are, while Red has got her back turned and she's cutting up the doll, all the handprints going around.
Cool.
Had a Silent Hill moment for anybody that's played Silent Hill The Room, and they look out through the people and there's handprints everywhere. Kids are creepy, first off. Kids bloody, maybe handprints all around the room, and then I started paying more attention and the hands get bigger. So it's almost like you're seeing ages of them growing too.
Wow.
That was pretty dope. I enjoyed that part a lot.
Speaking of creepy imagery, just it's funny when he points out Hands Across America in the way that he did. It's sort of like saying this was a creepy thing anyway. If you think about it, like why would somebody want to do this? It's like, here's how this could actually work if you wanted to do it. It's like, oh yeah, that is. The other thing I kept forgetting to point out. When she said that she wanted to go to Mexico, it clicked. When she asked who they were, Red said, "We're Americans." And they're doing the Hands Across America thing, which implies that if you got out of that country, that wouldn't be happening.
Oh, and it also, the quote in the beginning says in the continental United States.
Yes.
Also fact, like this is only happening here.
Interesting. So, I guess we've been kind of just skating all around. What did we really like about this?
I loved the fact that it didn't take an hour to build up.
Yep.
Because so many times, especially when you're dealing with suspense, you have an hour of backstory and then you have a half hour of action. And this jumped off quick. And I love that there were really terrifying moments with some comedy sprinkled in there. Dad, Gabe, was hilarious through all of it. And I made no apologies about being a dad. Like from when he first dabbed and getting really excited about the boat. And then later on even says, "Oh, well, I'm done with boats." Like, I really liked him in there.
The daughter's reactions were super genuine.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Like, every time Dad said something, it was just like eye roll or like a glance at Mom. Like,
and she still like, continued it with the brother when he goes to pick up the geode stand and then pulls down his mask and she rolls her eyes like, really? Like, now?
Really? Yeah, I thought that was really good. I like the family interplay that they had.
Yes.
There's something just very fun and a good every person kind of family, good representative of a nice, happy family that this could happen to. I thought when you said that about the daughter's reaction, specifically, when I jumped to when she was being chased by her copy.
Oh my god!
God, just you could just feel like just that smiling version of yourself that keeps just everybody's reaction in the theater. When she's across the car and just ducks down, and he's just like,
we actually had we went to a matinee, and it wasn't a super packed theater, but and this is probably the second week it's been out, probably.
Yes.
And we still got reactions in the theater. It wasn't like, the entire theater. There were a few times where I felt like the entire theater reacted.
But this is a nice small room too.
It was small, but there was one scene where she ducked down, and I think it was actually earlier, because when she ducked down, like that was when a larger audience all made a collective gasp. But earlier, I think it was the girl smiling or something. I forget what it was. Oh no. The click, 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 move your hands, and then the kids skitter off.
Not okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
Is that why they had? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
But the woman in the audience goes, "Oh." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the reaction to have." Okay, go ahead.
The spider in the very beginning, I first thought was lame. I'm like, why is there a spider on the table next to a fake spider? This is dumb. Oh, it's because people are moving like spiders. And as soon as Jason's mirror drops down and scurries off, I about jumped out of my skin. Like, I'm
really
done.
Good.
Again, kids are creepy.
Yeah.
When the daughter runs off and the mirror starts to run after her, also amazing acting there.
Yeah.
Like, because just with her facial expressions, so good. Like, I was creeped out. Like I said, 3/4 of the movie, I'm starting to lean towards 80%. You almost got me there.
Almost.
Really phenomenal acting. Was there a social commentary undertone thing to this one that I missed?
I'm gonna have to. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say. I'm gonna have to think about it. If you have something right off the top of your head,
I don't think so.
There's
I think he did one, and I think this is just a...
Yeah. This is
I like writing horror movies.
Yeah.
So, and they all don't have to have a meaning to them.
There's got to be something about the way that the tethered in America. I still think that Hands Across America thing, I think it was making a point about how creepy that kind of thing is and how empty a gesture it probably was in certain ways. And then...
well, it was actually an empty gesture, because everybody that pledged, not everyone paid. This wasn't the day in the internet where you pay immediately.
Yep.
This is where you had someone where you had to write a check and send it in, or you tell someone, I'm gonna go be in Hands Across America. Will you pledge $5 for every minute I stand there or whatever? And then, but people didn't pay up, so it actually lost money, I think. If I remember correctly.
Oh, I remember it being super lame too, where people were like, it's going to stretch across states. And it was, no, it's barely going to make it across the playground.
Yeah, there was like a bunch of places where they couldn't get people to do it. Because who wants to do it across a mountain?
Yeah, no.
And so, yeah, they even show the imagery at the end of the mirrors actually going across a mountain.
Which makes you think, oh my God, and how much further does it go? Like, you don't get a sense for how many people were down in that whatever the below ground part was. But I didn't get the sense there was enough room for that many people. So I that's the only thing I could think of, the nod of where there is underground tunnels that aren't being used and subways, that this was being done further with everyone.
You like almost like an umbrella corporation where they just built down.
Right.
And Resident Evil commentary there, where they had multiple levels underneath the ground. Maybe this is what they had here across America. Just levels, because... So my original idea with this thing was the copies were of folks that had gone into that thing, and there was something supernatural that was making a double of the person and not something government related or something else.
Excuse me. One of the things I liked about that was that it was more symbolic than anything. I think it was probably intentionally misleading, and it makes you focus on her being in that mirror thinking, oh, okay, this is why she's special. This is why she's being targeted. But no, wait, that doesn't explain why all these other people are here. What's going on? And it just keeps going from there until they just slowly sort of wrap these things up with these other types of explanations. Oh God, there's something else. Well, one of the things I thought was interesting too was that, in the credits, you could see all the different names for the people. They all had different code names, like their mirrors did, that weren't even being used. So it's like,
A lot of thought
didn't
was
see
thought into that.
Okay, I have to go back. And
yeah,
look
that's
at
why I knew the
credits.
name Red, because I was looking at it going, oh, okay, that's so. Like Kitty had a different name.
Mm-hmm. I liked the fact that Kitty, who talks so much,
Yeah.
and then her tether couldn't say a word, couldn't even scream.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
When she was screaming, or you couldn't tell if she was crying or laughing.
I think she was happy because her husband was dead.
Right.
It did, yeah. She did look horrified at first, and sort of transitioned into joy. And
So Winston Duke, Gabe, Abraham, Kitty, Dahlia.
Dahlia.
Tim Heidecker was Josh and Tex. Zora was Umbre. Evan was Pluto.
so their tethers, it seemed that they were amplified personality traits that may or may not have had to do with mimicking them for so long or being tied to them. So Tex, for example, seemed to have that kind of over-the-top dad humor, kind of messing with people. Like the thing where he reached for his wife and did the, put his hand behind his head, fake you out, thing silently, and on the boat. I love it when he was like, looking over like, where could he be? Oh my God.
That was
yeah.
so good.
It was very
And
good.
I don't know what he was wearing, like a robe or what, and he even kind of like flashes that around. Like, well, darn.
Yeah, he
I
took
can't
the robe
find him.
off of the dead body. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Even though he was still covered in blood and was wearing the red jumpsuit. But put the robe over the thing. It's like,
Super theatrical. That was nice.
I really like the scene when Adelaide went up to the door, knocked or rang the doorbell. The guy comes in, and it's just like the twins and the other mother just...
Right. Oh.
I mean, that was a great, like, spooky scene there. I like that one.
And she also seemed to understand, despite how the other guy was dressed or something, and the way he looked, right away she knew that was, well, she saw Tex first opening the doors, like, right into the head with a poker, like, I know, that is not you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not even going to pause. We're not going to have a debate about this.
Yeah.
You're done. Not that you particularly liked her in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Kitty. Kitty was rough to... It's like, I don't really like small talk. Yeah. Oh, I get it. I totally get it. Let's keep talking.
One thing, another hint of some sort, at least one thing I was wondering about, when Dahlia had Adelaide up in the room, chained again, and she took the scissors to her and held it to her face, and then just sort of like, I can't touch you, I'm going to go and mess with myself for a bit. That was, thinking back, that implied that she was being saved for Red. Like, we're chaining you here because we know that that's what she wants to do with you. And I can't touch you because you're hers, and just...
Yep. So, is there anything that we didn't like in this movie?
Well,
I've already said what I don't like.
Yeah.
But...
I had one more thing I liked.
Okay, go. Keep going.
The last thing I wanted to throw out was I like the kind of what's the word I'm looking for, like sleight of hand. When she first leaves the boardwalk, and there's always a fortune teller or something creepy or something mystical. The name of the first one, it was a shaman. Learn about yourself. Then it was Merlin, and I'm like, oh, there's gonna be some mystical, magical component, and I love that it wasn't that at all. It was just the entrance to So it was still kind of plausible, like this could potentially be happening. And I like that so much more than we're going to find the mystical magical amulet that cursed everyone.
Smash. Everything's fixed.
Yeah.
I dug that a lot.
I really liked just the overall pacing of everything. Just, you were saying that it got right to it, but I felt like it was even just a pretty decent slow burn. They didn't really tip their hand to, I mean, you saw something with the little girl, but they didn't really tip their hand until the family was standing in the driveway.
Yes.
It's just like, immediately it's like, oh my God, that was enough to like,
That was my favorite. One of my favorite lines was, "There's a family in our driveway." No, there isn't.
No, there isn't.
There's a family in the driveway. Huh.
And you know, that build, or even that transition was so perfectly paced to me because it was, Gabe was, reacting the way that I think a normal father would react in those situations. He was just like, I'm just going to go out and, what are you calling the police for? I'm just going to go, hey guys,
can you move on?
You're going to have to go now. Okay, call the police.
Yeah, that was great. Like,
I'm going to take the bat out there now and, okay.
Call the police.
And I love that he didn't completely approach them.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if they're going to have him
kill him
actually
right now.
walk out there, I'm done. Because that's not, people don't do that. Like, they'll walk out a little bit and they'll pound their chest, but they're going to go back inside.
I just think everyone was sensible in this.
Yes.
I think there weren't any characters who's like, God, these people are so dumb. But no, I think everyone was sensible and they survived, and that's why that's points up for me there too.
It really did feel like all the reactions were genuine. People were behaving the way you would in those situations, and just appropriate amounts of terror at given points too. It's just they're in the house. There's nothing we can do. They weren't trained to fight. It's like, what is going on here?
They did a pretty good job
Yeah.
though. When they had to, they were just like. There were moments of cowering, but then they were like, I'm a mom. I got to take care of my kids.
Right.
Yeah, don't mess with moms and their kids or else they will fuck you up.
Yes.
Okay, so I kept trying to think what the point of no return was really. I'm going to still maintain that something about her going into that mirrored place and switching was what set off that, that chain reaction of people coming up and doing things, but what is the lesson? Don't go to Santa Cruz, I guess, as you were saying.
Don't go to Santa Cruz.
Which also raises the point of the people that were collected at various places. Does that mean that they have to kind of travel with them underground to wherever they happen to be geographically? Because you were saying, like, this didn't seem like a big enough facility for all the people that would be, let's say, in the entire country or maybe even the entire state, but it seems like they had to be where they were under them at given points. So...
And that's where I get into that this feels kind of forced. Like, seriously, 82.5% of this movie was solid. Some of the other things that I kind of went, when Mom got out of the car when her daughters...
To make sure that the other daughter was dead.
Right. No, you drive. You just drive. You just keep driving. Why are you getting out of the car? I thought that was kind of weird, but... Was it to give it a nod that she didn't kill
the whole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she started doing the grunting and making weird noises, like
when she was killing the twin, and when she killed her actual person at the end.
I think it might have also been her starting to understand or feel something, some connection to this tether.
Because that could have been her daughter,
right? And. Well, I mean, also, maybe it's starting to remember something. Yeah. The way she was looking at her. But my thought at the time, of course, when she got out of the car was that she knew that these particular people were coming after her family, so she can't just let her...
Yeah, can't just let her go. That's
and
what
make sure that she's dead.
I'm gonna go make sure she's dead. And...
They even said they're going to keep coming after us.
Yeah.
Until we kill them or they kill us.
I don't know, because then I'm also doing how many more are in the woods now? Who's going to jump out? I was prepared for somebody to grab her. Yeah. What was the other one? It was that one. Oh, and the daughter driving. Oh, hell no. Oh, you're shutting the car door on me? you are getting out of the car. I'm not allowing your 15-year-old, 16-year-old. Like, she doesn't have her license yet.
Yeah, 15,
I think
16.
14. I think they said maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so
Either
somewhere
way.
in there, we're almost to the point where we can drive. No, there's no. I'm not going to tell my mom I'm driving the car. No.
Yeah.
After one, I'm going to drive. I would have gotten out of the seat. So that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But I mean, immediately her hitting the gas and taking off brought me back in.
Yeah. Like actually doing the right thing and not being incompetent with it. Like,
You need to back up. Oh no, I
we're
need
killing
to hit
this
the gas.
right now.
Over the top. I was like, oh
Up
my
and
god.
over the top.
Oh,
Great.
again with the spider like
Yeah.
kind of. Oh no.
I have a point of no return. I think
All right.
don't walk away from your dad.
That too.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. That's the point where I would have been like, hey, your mom said stay here. I probably would have stayed there. I probably wouldn't have been like, let's go out to all the way to the ocean.
Yeah, I was.
And then come all the way back and drop a perfectly good candy apple.
I was like, why?
What? Yeah.
You're
What
going
the
into a fun house. You need snacks.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Yeah. So nothing really took me out of it until the very end when she's having her flashback to be like, ha ha ha, I was the person the whole time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't ha ha ha. It was just, and that was just me in my head going, ugh. I would have, I mean, alternate endings, alternate storyline for me would have been that she took the woman with her, like took the, when the little kid just came out, I was like, look, I found a twin. And then they raised both of them together. I mean, wouldn't that have been amazing? It would have been a good story.
It was a different kind of movie, though.
I like the son picking up on it, and as she's kind of showing you, as you're being shown kind of what's happening, and the look on his face, I just would have liked to have seen his realization, and maybe I missed it. And again, I'm going to go back and watch this one again because I feel like I missed some things. But I want to see his internal progression of him going, something's not right.
With mom, yeah.
Right. And then before it's just the reveal and he's like, oh yeah, that's not her. That's not. Or it's her, but it's, I was wrong. She was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the progression started in the underground place where she was starting to grunt as she was killing
I think
the
it started
copy.
when she killed the twin. Because he saw. So she kills the daughter, the twin and daughter, and she's grunting and making noise. He walks into the house and sees her like with kind of hunched over and making the grunting noises and everything, and his eyes go whoop.
Right. Okay.
I think that's what his first, like, something's not right. Because he, even when he got in the car, he was like, you know, like looking around very like, mom isn't right.
I'm going to need to pay more attention to that. So the first time I think she did it, though, was before that when she was handcuffed to the table.
Oh, yeah.
Because when she's trying to break off the table, there's a point before that she starts doing it. I was like, that sounds awfully close. I wonder if they're trying to do a nod. And then they repeated it in those other scenes that I was like, this is good. It's trying to tell you something.
Can
what are
we
you
talk
trying to tell
about the
me?
table?
Yeah.
It wasn't a heavy table.
No.
So just pick up the table, walk over and get the thing. I mean, she probably could have carried the table with her, just pop the glass out.
I didn't
or
know
just
why.
break the
Move
table. Move the
over.
table with you.
The glass is not that thick.
Mom strength. Dude, I have the strength to move a coffee table to get something to, and especially how much strength would I have if my life was in jeopardy?
Right.
To get that thing. I'm like, why are you going with your toast? Just grab the coffee table. Just grab the coffee table and go. Run. But yeah, that was one of my, like, what is happening here? Other than that, I didn't have, other than what I've mentioned, those are the only things that I didn't like about it.
Most of those were small moments too. So we're not talking about until we get to the end. That's where we kind of there were our divergences. But overall, really liked it, and I am definitely going to see this again. Theater, I don't know, but definitely want to watch it again.
Keith?
If I had a negative thing to say, I was most distracted by the uniforms and outfits and wondering what it would have taken her. that's like the only loose end for me was how did they assemble all those things? Were they did they dedicate themselves to textile?
How? Yeah, they showed a scene where they're all putting everything together, like the whole like boop 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 boop, and they're all moving in like an orderly fashion. Like, aren't they supposed to be following what the people upstairs are doing?
I think that was their moment of breaking free. Yeah. She was showing them how to do it. She was the special one. They were clinging to her. It's like, oh, okay, so I'm going to show you what to do now. Follow me. We're going to have this plan.
And the moment where they take off their clothes and they put on the red suits, which you got textiles from, I kind of got prison from that.
I guess it could have been prison.
Oh, you think they could have stolen them from?
Yeah, maybe a prison.
That's a lot. Well, I mean, a lot of people are. Yeah.
Everyone in the world, everyone in the United States has to have one, and it has to be the right size. I mean, the kids.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have liked to have seen a baby to see what.
Oh, that would have been what. That would be a sequel if there were going to be one. I would guess would be going back to seeing how like an actual childbirth happening or.
But how does the baby react? Yeah.
Yeah. What does the baby do? How does it eat? Do they force feed it?
Rabbit.
Rabbit? I mean, babies can't eat rabbit when they were first born. That's neither here nor there.
No, that's a very good, I'd say, hole there to see how they figure that out.
Other than the ones that we saw. So let's wrap it up. We'll do our grades, horror, spook factor, whatever you want to call it. Is one score 1 through 10. And then entertainment value is 1 through 10.
I feel like I want to just put this out here for past and future guests. Is that, these things don't have to be measuring contests. It's not like, nothing scares me. It's just, how well do they do something,
Yeah. And if it scares you, that's fine.
That too.
I just want to keep telling people that is, I love horror films, and I've seen a lot of horror films, and I don't get scared very often. But that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be scared. I want you to be scared. This is why we're here. We're having a conversation about what scares people. So please be honest. Please don't, like, if we all give our rating and everyone says, well, that wasn't very scary, and you thought it was scary, and we want to say that this is not a pissing contest, even though Peebs and I are women.
Look
at this puddle on the ground that I made, guys.
You know what? They have attachments so you can pee standing up. Yeah. Don't, no.
I was going to say puddle on the ground. Look how big it is. See it?
Oh, yeah, no, look.
I'm also dancing around the term dick measuring contest, honestly, because that's usually what it ends up coming down to.
Let's not do that
people
either.
Care about that sort of thing. I'll even go first and say that this was... I feel like I've been saying this more, well, here and there lately. It's pretty high for me.
Okay.
Horror factor. I'm going to go maybe as high as a 9 right now. I was tense in the seat, but also I felt like it was a very accurate representation of how I would feel in the situation, how most people would feel in the situation on the screen. So,
What about your entertainment value?
9 or 10. I was engaged and just there was like maybe a little like a short bit where I kind of zoned out for a bit when she was kind of touring the facilities downstairs, and it sort of something kind of the pacing was a little off there, but yeah, so that'll be a 9.
Peebs?
So you can see so many different styles of directors in this because it wasn't just it wasn't just suspense. It wasn't just a thriller. It wasn't just a slasher. It had little bits and pieces of all that sprinkled throughout. I wasn't scared through the whole thing. But I definitely was holding my breath at points, so I would give it like a solid 7 for that. Entertainment though, Jordan Peele is flipping amazing. I mean, cause again, he did drama, he did scare. I mean, he had moments in there that he directed them without any noise whatsoever, or have "fuck the police" in the background going. Like, it's a 9. definitely. I don't. In fact, I'm verging on 10 because I don't know for that how I could have made it better. I'm on the fence.
Okay. Horror, I would give it 5 or 6. The entertainment value, I'm giving it a 7 or 8. And that's just because I didn't like the end, and I know people are trying to persuade me to make it higher because they liked it.
Are you saying that's what's affecting your horror score?
No, my horror score. I mean, that was a solid 5 movie. I mean,
are you basing it on like how scared you think that you personally felt, or
yeah,
are we just saying
how
that?
I felt. 5. There was not. I didn't jump.
Right.
I thought the spidery stuff was nice and creepy.
Okay.
They didn't really have a lot of horror. They had stabbings with blood, but they didn't have, heads coming off. Or...
Do you remember the sound that bat made when it hit the guy in the head?
Oh, yeah.
And the,
I guess I'm desensitized to it.
Yeah. It's just...
It wasn't over the top gore. I see what you're saying there, yeah.
I guess you want me to give a score of how everybody else would think about it?
No.
Well, here's... Going back to what I was saying before about the measuring contest... I never jump. No matter what's on the screen, something happens, I never jump. It's just, I think the way that the horror was represented was reflecting my score. Not like, oh my God, I'm so scared. It's just, yeah.
Well, it's not a scare factor. It's not, it doesn't have to be a scare factor for you. It's a tension factor if you want to make it.
No, I'm just saying that, but you just said that you were measuring on how scared you personally felt by giving it a 5.
Not scared, not scared, not horror-y, I didn't feel like any of the people were in actual jeopardy.
I think that's going to be the real tell on it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you didn't feel like, if you didn't have that tension.
I felt like, because they were competent. They were all competent people. The only one that I thought might die was the dad, because, I mean, he did give a kind of a doofus vibe to start out with. So I was like, maybe Dad's dying, but the rest of the family, I think they'll be fine. They showed how competent the kid was at hiding and doing all these things. They mentioned that she was a track star, so I knew she could run out of anything. So, and she did. And then she also had her mental capabilities that she got from her mom.
But that moment where... And I'm not arguing with you, but on that same term where she's a runner, right? But that also means her twin was, or her mirror. And when her mirror let her have that much of a head start and is just cracking her arms, stretching out, I was like, oh shit, like she may be better.
Yeah. It was, they mentioned earlier when they were also at the same point talking about her being in track and field, they were like trying to convince her to train more, and she was like, I don't feel like... She's probably out of shape compared to her double, who was just relishing it. You could see that little scene where she was out of focus, like running faster than her off to the side and actually circled around in front of her. I can see why you wouldn't think that the family, after a certain point, that any of them in the immediate family is going to die, but everyone else sure did. I mean, we're just... bodies everywhere, just
all
the other
of
family.
Santa Cruz, just dead, just roll on by, dead. But you know what? It's not my job to try to convince you otherwise, because I respect your opinion, and if it didn't pull you that way, though, I mean, you can't force something like that. So it didn't speak to you on that level. So 5 for horror, but for entertainment, you said
7 or 8.
7 or 8. Okay, so it was still a good time.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it. I liked it up until the very point where I said throughout this podcast, that's where I didn't like it.
And you won't convince me fully, but 87.2.
See?
Yeah, you've definitely made some changes there, and that's why I really want to give this another shot. Because I feel like this is one of those movies that you can go back and watch a couple times and you're going to learn more.
Well, we've given our ratings. Do we have anything we want to promote? I know Peeps has a podcast she does.
Why, yes. So the podcast is PSA from PBS. And we also have some other spots that we do. One of the regular shows, which is going to be coming up in 2 weeks, is What's in the Box?
Yay.
And that is our unboxing video, which is a themed party. I know you've got a chance to participate in one of those. This next one is going to be a 90s theme unboxing with 2 different boxes. People are going to come out dressed up for it. We're going to have food, games. It's going to be a good time. And I believe that is going to be on April. Hello, April. Oh my gosh, it's April.
Yeah, it's just like a few days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Monday. It's going to be either Saturday the 13th or Sunday the 14th. Find me on Facebook. All those posts are always open.
Awesome. Alrighty,
Yay!
folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcasts and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Marianne's Macabre Review on Facebook and Macabre Review on Twitter. And you can follow us on our personal pages.
Did you ever find out?
No. I am Wraith Mistress. Look for me. You'll see a picture of me on it.
She's pointing at her face.
Yes. Keith is Chaometer. Do you have Twitter? Or a page that you...
Yep. If you go to my Facebook, type in PBS, you'll find me from there. And like I said, personal things are locked down. Eventually, we are going to roll out to its own Facebook page.
Alrighty. There we go. We'll keep you updated on when that happens. So we'll get that out there we'll get it out to all y'all when it actually happens. Alrighty, folks. Bye.
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 It's all been done.
Not just yet.
Who's got the...
Nope, you neither. Sorry about that, guys. So on the way home, Marianne and I started talking about some of the things we should have said. I decided to record it while we were driving. In the rain. So, yeah. Apologies for the change in quality, but it should still be listenable, I think.
But if you tire of us, we are sure to move along.
Are you finished?
Nearly.
Hi, welcome back. Actually, this is Marianne and Keith now. We're still talking about us. We feel like we forgot some things when we were talking, and when we're actually driving home now because we decided to turn the podcast recorder back on because we had so much that we needed to bring up. Keith, what was one of the first things that you wanted to talk about?
Let's start with the monkey paw thing. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
The thing that seems like is probably Jordan Peele's new studio or production tag at the beginning with a severed monkey paw stirring the teacup like in Get Out. And Marianne had the other observation that
it was in a subway, which is where most of us, or the us people, the tethered people, were in underground subways or places like that.
And you had something interesting to say about the main character, Adelaide. Thought that she was strong.
I really liked that she was strong for the whole thing. I was like, man, this is an awesome female character that I really like, and I think it's really cool. And all that she's doing to take care of her family, but then to have the realization that she is the one without the soul makes it easier for her to kill because she won't have remorse, or I don't know. I feel like it makes her less because she was the soulless one.
My thought about that is that they didn't really make it clear that they didn't have a soul at all. In fact, what she said was that they were sharing a soul with the people they were tethered to. And I think part of the drive that she was making with the big gesture to demonstrate their capabilities to everyone above was that they were no less valid than the people who happen to be living up above. So given the switch, which was a demonstration that either one of them could have been raised to be like the other, given the opportunity. In fact, that's one of the things she pointed out what if that day you had just taken me with you instead?
Yeah.
So there's that.
What about Chekhov's flare gun?
Oh, good, yes. I enjoyed, it's a standard sort of movie thing that people are supposed to do, I suppose, in filmmaking. The idea of introducing all these little callbacks for later. You know, we're showing you this because it has to come back later to be useful. The thing with the outboard motor, the way he would have to hit it in certain ways to get it to work again, how it ended up failing for his double who didn't quite know how to get it to start again. And even though you saw him, Gabe, that is, eventually hit it to start it again, you didn't know that wasn't the real callback. The real callback was when he was pinned to it, or against it.
By the other...
Yeah, by his double Abraham, who then knocked him against it, or he knocked himself against it to start it and get the propeller to chew him up. So that was, I thought, a very clever use of that.
Yes.
And the flare gun, which was very comedic.
I knew you would fucking forget the flare gun man is what Tim Heidecker's character says.
Yep.
And then what does Gabe do when he gets in the boat? He grabs the biatch, which is the name of the other guy's boat.
Yep.
And so he goes and hides, and he grabs the flare gun. And when he's like so proud of himself, he like raises the gun. You can see the expression on the other guy's face as he realizes he's got a gun pointed at him, and he shoots it, and it just is a flare gun, and it just like it shoots, it hits the wall and then ricochets all around the room, like in very way. Like,
yeah, it just
beep,
kind of
beep, boop, beep, boop,
and
boop.
just kind of drops and doesn't really do anything to the other guy. I think it might have even hit him, and it just kind of just fell and smoked, and was like,
it hit
well,
the wall next to him. There's a burn mark in the wall. Let's see.
One thing I didn't even mention as we were about to do this was the copy of the son, the little boy, sort of like an instance of the other boy's pyromania, or a nod to the possibility of him being fascinated with fire. His face was burnt up. Like maybe there was some incident that the other boy was able to escape and he wasn't as a result of that.
Yeah.
But he seemed to be very fascinated with fire and trying to get that trick to work, certainly. And and he was being lured, or he wanted to lure the family into being burnt. The Red even mentioned that
he's obsessed with
yeah,
fire.
you guys go play. Hope they don't burn our house down.
Don't burn our house down. That's what she said. Our house. She stressed the our
I
house.
just hope they don't.
And
Either way.
the thing that Keith mentioned about the copies is they were mortal. They were not these supernatural Jasons or Freddys or Michael Myers. They were just humans, so they could be killed. And so if you killed your double, you were fine.
Yep. And it was still just, they were still terrifying even with that realization that they're still just human, because they still seemed more, a little bit more feral, a little bit more unstoppable, because they had
the drive.
Yes, they had the drive, they had the purpose behind what they were doing.
They had the sky to look forward to, whereas we didn't look forward to anything because we had taken it all for granted.
Yes. So along the lines of the little boy being eventually burnt up, killed by the fire, we had Tex, the double of his friend, being, well, not quite killed by the flare gun. We certainly made it seem like he was going to be. Just little ironic things like that for everyone.
Yeah.
How did she end up killing Kitty's copy?
The youngest
Dahlia.
boy.
Oh, right, with the
Geode.
statue. Yeah.
Is that all we have? Are we going to go on?
For now, I think so. I think we got the big one. Of course, as soon as we turn it off, it's gonna whatever. Probably can't even hear myself saying that right now.
Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and pause for now, and if we have something more, we'll be back. Bye.
Long. Okay, now I'm done.
Presents.
Who's got the time?